Hello and welcome to SquatchBot.com. I'm Darren Smith, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. Last week, I gave you a brief look into the camera project that I've been running in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and I shared with you the interesting rock stacks that I have seen appearing next to my cameras, and I encourage you to leave comments as to what you thought a Sasquatch was, and why are they avoiding the cameras. Needless to say, I was absolutely thunderstruck by the enormous response that I've received from you. For sure, we're all on the same page that the Sasquatch are becoming aware of the cameras, and this in itself is not so surprising. I have noticed that animals do become aware of the cameras as they pass by them. Deer, for example, by their mannerisms, seem to be hearing something. Here's some of the footage that leads me to this conclusion. So it is not so much a surprise that the Sasquatch are becoming aware of the cameras, and I'm also receiving numerous messages from researchers who believe that the Sasquatch are creating the rock stacks in an attempt to warn others of its kind to steer clear of the cameras. For sure, the most likely explanation for rock stacking is human activity. However, in this particular location, the cameras are in a very remote area, off trail, and there's no clear indication why humans would be creating rock stacks in this area. Also, as I mentioned on the last episode, I had cameras facing one another in an attempt to see what was creating the rock stacks. And in those particular experiments, the rock stacks did not appear where I anticipated them to appear. However, they did appear, once again, outside of the periphery of the camera's view. This is very much an intriguing mystery for me. Sasquatch often approach our technology. They'll shake our vehicles when we're parked alongside a desolate road. They'll come into our camps and they'll poke around our coolers. And they'll even come up and watch television from our living room windows. So why have they identified the cameras as being a threat to them? And why are they avoiding them? I would think that if the cameras were putting off a high-pitched frequency that the Sasquatch were hearing, I would think that they would investigate and try to incapacitate the annoyance. However, there are literally hundreds of cameras in the woods across the country, and we're not getting any photographs of Sasquatch. This mystery is truly intriguing to me. And speaking of mysteries, here's another mystery that I encountered during my Sierra Nevada camera project. In June of 2016, when I went to check on the cameras, not only did I find a new rock stack, I also discovered what I thought at the time to be knife marks on one of the python cables. I really did not think too much about it until I reviewed the photographs from that camera, and I discovered there was no human activity recorded. I immediately fetched the cable and took a closer look. Clearly, the markings on the cable were not knife marks, and they looked more like teeth or claw marks. Intrigued, I placed the cable in a evidence bag and I began an investigation. This is the only photograph that was taken of the creature that appeared in very close proximity to the camera. The photograph was taken in February, and although there was a layering of snow on the ground, the camera was still nearly 7 feet off the ground. Though there are a number of theories as to what caused the damage to the cable, this mystery is still unsolved. So when you're in the field and you come across something unusual, it's important that you stop what you're doing and conduct an investigation. Far too often, researchers jump to a conclusion without doing a proper investigation, and I think on numerous occasions there's opportunities that are being overlooked. So if the general consensus among researchers is that it is very unlikely to get a photograph of a Sasquatch using a game camera, then why would I continue this camera project in the Sierra Nevada mountains? Well, besides the fact that I'm interested in the placement of these rock stacks, this video clip will also give you an idea of why I find this project so rewarding. Continuing the discussion of obtaining photographic evidence of a Sasquatch, I would think with all the video and photographic manipulating software that is currently on the market, and with all the breakthroughs of costume technology, that photographic evidence would amount to not much. There are just too many anomalies to take into consideration when viewing photographic evidence. And that brings us to another interesting mystery. This was an interesting anomaly that occurred one evening as deer triggered this camera. The light source that is emanating from the top of the screen is not coming from any other cameras in the area. And as the deer appear oblivious to the light source, it implies that the light is of a spectrum the deer cannot see. What I find curious is the camera was in the field for an extended period of time, and these are the only photographs of such an anomaly. And I have never encountered such an anomaly prior to or following these photographs. It is an interesting mystery for sure. However, I do suspect that there is a simple explanation. Among the hundreds of messages and comments I have received, I also received a number of messages asking for the irrefutable evidence. If I had the irrefutable evidence to prove the existence of Sasquatch, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos. These videos are a great way for me to share with you the discoveries that I have made while out in the field, and it is a great way for me to network with other Sasquatch researchers. By sharing information, we have a much greater chance of solving some of the mysteries that we have been encountering in the field. There is greater discovery in our unity. I'm Darren Smith, and I'll see you here next time at squatchbot.com. Our quest is just beginning. So be sure to subscribe to this channel so you will be updated on future videos. In the weeks to come, we'll be heading into the mountains to conduct field research. We'll be doing follow-up investigations on recent sightings, and we'll be meeting some special guests and having some fun along the way. Be sure to visit squatchspot.com, the .com spot for all things Squatch.